There is a wooden door set into the side of a hill about 22 steps from my kitchen, and behind that door, right now, in a room my grandfather dug by hand, there is enough food to carry my family through 14 months without one trip to a store. Shelves of potatoes in the dark, crocks of kraut, squash lined up on boards like loaves of bread. My name is Elias Yoder. I am Amish. I farm in Lancaster County the way my people have farmed for 300 years. No electricity, no tractor, and I have never once stood in front of an empty shelf wondering what my children would eat. The English world found out in 2020 what an empty shelf looks like, and forgive me, that is just what we call folks outside our community. No disrespect in it. I watched grown men fight over flour, and then I am going to tell you the part that should make you uneasy. The 15 vegetables that fill my cellar cost me less than $40 in seed each spring, and the people who sell you your food have a very good reason for hoping you never plant them. By the end of this, you will know all 15, what order to plant them in, and the one at the top of the list that even most gardeners have never grown. Stay with me. Now here is what most folks get wrong about a crisis garden, and if you skip this part, the whole list is wasted on you. When the English think about growing food, they think about tomatoes, lettuce, a few peppers in a pot, and those are fine things. My wife grows all of them along her herb beds, but a tomato is water wearing a red coat. You could eat tomatoes all day and still go to bed hungry. A crisis garden is not measured in vegetables. It is measured in calories per square foot and months in storage. Those two numbers and nothing else. Every plant on this list earns its ground by one rule. It either feeds you hard or it keeps until April, and the best ones do both. That is the whole game right there. Once you see your garden as a cellar that has not been harvested yet, every choice becomes simple. So let us start counting down from 15 to the one at the top. Number 15 is kale, not because it is fashionable with the English, but because it is the last living thing standing in my garden in December. Frost does not kill it, frost sweetens it. While every store in town is selling tired greens trucked 2,000 miles, you walk out and cut supper off a plant under the snow. Plant it twice. Once in spring and again in late July, and you will have greens 10 months of the year. Number 14 is the onion. No dish in my house starts without one, and a properly cured onion keeps 6 months in a cool room. Pull them when the tops fall over, let them dry in the sun a few days, braid the tops, and hang them from a beam. My grandmother's braids hung in the same cellar I use now. Number 13, garlic. And this one most folks plant at the wrong time. Garlic goes in the ground in October, sleeps through winter, and comes up before you have even thought about spring. One bulb broken into cloves becomes 8 to 10 bulbs. Plant a $4 sack once and save your biggest heads for replanting, and you will never buy garlic again as long as you live. Trust me on this. Number 12 is the carrot, and the secret with carrots is not how to grow them. It is where to store them. You leave them in the ground. Cover the row with a foot of straw before hard frost, and the earth itself becomes your refrigerator. We dig them in January, sweet as candy, while the English are paying winter prices for bagged ones. Number 11, beets, and you are getting 2 crops in one hole. The root keeps all winter packed in damp sand, and the tops cook up like spinach all summer. My great-great-grandfather Yoder came over from the Palatinate in 1838 with a Bible and a chest of carpenter's tools, and the old folks say beets were in the first garden his family put in. We have not missed a year since. Number 10 is the turnip, the most insulted vegetable in America and one of the fastest. 60 days from seed to harvest. When you realize in August that you are behind, the turnip is the crop that forgives you. Root for the cellar, greens for the pot, and it will grow in soil that disappoints everything else. Number 9, the parsnip. And here is a plant the English have nearly forgotten existed. It needs a long season, but it pays you back with a trick no other root knows. A parsnip left in the frozen ground all winter turns its starch to sugar, and the ones you dig in March taste like nothing money can buy. It is the only crop on this list that gets better the longer the crisis runs. Number 8 is cabbage, and cabbage is on this list because of what it becomes. A fresh head keeps a few months in the cellar, that is good. But shredded, salted, and packed into a crock, it becomes sauerkraut. And kraut keeps a year or more with no canner, no freezer, no power. Our people fed themselves across oceans on barrels of it. 2 heads, 3 tablespoons of salt, a crock, and your fists. That is the entire recipe. Now, before I give you the top 7, the heavy feeders, the crops that actually carry a family, I want to ask you something. I go through the comments under these videos in the evening, every one of them, and I have been reading folks from Ohio and Texas and clear out in Oregon telling me what is already in their ground this year. So tell me what you are planting and what zone you are in, because there are thousands of households doing this work alongside you now, and somebody one state over has already solved the problem you are about to run into. All right, the big 7. Number 7. Sunflowers, and I do not mean the ones for looking at. The big, single-headed kind, the old oil types, give you seed that is nearly half fat by weight, and fat is the thing a hard winter steals from a garden diet first. My 11 hives of honeybees work the heads all August. My wife gets her half-acre of flowers looking the way she likes, and the birds and I split the harvest. 1 row along a fence feeds you, your hens, and your pollinators all at once. Number 6 is the sweet potato, and if you live anywhere with a hot summer, this may outproduce everything else you own. It is more calorie-dense than a white potato. It shrugs off heat and most pests, and a properly cured sweet potato keeps 8 months on a shelf. Cure them warm for 10 days after digging. That is the step the English skip, and it is the whole difference between a sweet potato that lasts until May and one that rots by Thanksgiving. Number 5 is corn, but hear me carefully, not the sweet corn from a summer stand. Field corn, dent corn, flint corn, the old kinds. You let it dry hard on the stalk, you shell it, and a sealed bucket of it keeps for years. Ground in a $30 hand mill, it is cornbread, mush, and feed for the hens that give you eggs. Sweet corn is a treat. Field corn is a granary standing in your yard. Number 4, winter squash, the butternuts and hubbards with rinds like armor. One healthy plant will hand you 15 to 30 pounds of food that stores on a plain wooden shelf for half a year. No cellar even required. The engineers would call that shelf-stable caloric density. We just call it squash. Cure them in the sun a week, keep the stems on, and do not let them touch each other on the shelf. Number 3, dry beans. Here is where your protein comes from when there is no meat counter. You do not pick them green. You walk away and let the pods rattle dry on the vine, then shell them on the porch some October evening, and a jar of dry beans is good 10 years from now. And mark this, because it matters later. A bean you grew makes seed that grows true. Save a handful from every harvest, and you will never buy bean seed twice. Number 2 is the potato, and there is no argument about this one. Pound for pound, square foot for square foot. No crop in a northern garden puts more food in front of a family. A 10-foot row of seed potatoes becomes 30 to 60 pounds in the cellar, and they keep until spring in any cool, dark place. Hill the soil up around the stems as they grow. That one habit can nearly double what you dig. If you plant only one thing after watching this, plant potatoes. Which brings us to number 1, and I would wager most of you have never grown it. Some of you have never heard of it, the Jerusalem artichoke. Around here we call them sunchokes. And they are not from Jerusalem, and they are not artichokes. They are the root of a native sunflower, and they are the closest thing to an unkillable food crop that God ever put on this continent. You plant the knobby little tubers once. They come back every single year on their own. No replanting, no watering, no spraying. Drought does not stop them. Poor soil does not stop them. And here is the part that makes them the crisis crop above all others. You do not harvest them in fall. You leave them in the ground and dig them all winter as you need them, which means there is nothing in your cellar to spoil and nothing on a shelf for anyone to count. The old-timers planted them along fence lines as quiet insurance, a bank in the dirt. Now I promised you honesty, so here is the caveat, because I will not sell you a perfect plant. Sunchokes carry a starch called inulin, I-nu-lin, that some stomachs argue with until they adjust, and around here the children have a ruder name for the plant that I will let you guess at. Start with small servings, cook them well, and your stomach makes peace within a few weeks. And know that once you plant them, they are yours forever, so give them their own corner. That is not a flaw in a hard year. That is the point. Now let me tell you why none of this was ever told to you. Because it is not a mystery, and it is not a conspiracy in the shadows. It is arithmetic in an office. Nearly every seed packet on an English store rack is a hybrid, and a hybrid is a clever thing. It grows fine, but the seed it makes will not grow true to its parent, which means every spring you must come back and buy again. There is no money in a man who plants beans once and saves his own seed for 30 years. There is a great deal of money in a man who buys everything fresh each April, and even more in a man who plants nothing at all and buys every bite at the store. Nobody banned the old open-pollinated seeds. They are sitting right there in the catalogs for the same price. The system simply stopped mentioning them, the same way the man who sells you groceries will never once suggest you stop needing him. I have heard the folks who study supply lines say a grocery store holds only a few days of food at any moment. I cannot swear to the exact number, but I stood in 2020 and saw how fast those shelves went bare, and that was enough proof for me. And I will give you one more honest word, because it is the most important sentence in this whole talk. A garden is not a thing you can plant when the crisis arrives. A potato wants 90 days. Corn wants 100. The cellar I showed you at the start took a full season to fill. The time to plant a crisis garden is the year you do not need one. There is no shortcut around that, and anyone who sells you one is selling you a story. So here is the whole system in one breath. Roots and greens for the steady eating. Kale, onions, garlic, carrots, beets, turnips, parsnips, cabbage for the crock. The big 7 for the calories: sunflowers, sweet potatoes, field corn, winter squash, dry beans, potatoes, and a patch of sunchokes as the bank you never have to manage. So this weekend, here is what I want you to do. Pick 5 from this list that suit your ground. Buy open-pollinated seed. The packets will say heirloom or open-pollinated right on them, and you will spend $25 to $40 for all of it, less than one family supper at a restaurant. Get the potatoes and the sunchokes in first. Then picture yourself 1 year from now, some cold Saturday evening, stepping down into your own cool, dark room, shelves full, jars gleaming, while the news talks about prices and shortages, and feeling that talk slide right past you like weather on a tight roof. The folks in my community already know this works. I am writing this for the folks outside it who were never told. Next time I am going to show you what my grandmother did with a crock, a cabbage, and 3 tablespoons of salt, because there is a way to keep food a full year with no canner and no power, and one pantry ingredient she added that I have never seen an English recipe mention. The people who built this country with their hands knew things we are only just starting to remember.